Right, this section is about types of document, something that might come up in the exam. There are three main types of document that you need to know about. You need to know what types of things are usually on them and why and what the purpose of the documents are. So, the three documents we're going to look at are purchase orders, receipts, and invoices, all with a slightly different purpose. We've got some examples here. So this is a purchase order, and this is the type of thing that's on it. So basically, a purchase order is something that you would use when you want to buy something from a supplier or a wholesaler. So a wholesaler is basically someone who sells lots of things. A supplier are the people who sell things to specific companies, okay? So this order here, you can see where it's coming from. So it's been placed by somebody. This is the company they're buying things from. And then it has a purchase order number so that it can be tracked. So if anybody needed to query the order, they would just tell the other company the number, and that would help them easily find it. It'll have the date so people know when it was ordered, and sometimes there's a vendor number. Don't worry too much about that one. And maybe there's a expected shipping date when it'll be sent out for delivery. So the main things you need to think about there are address of who it's from, address of who it's to, the order number, and the date. They're the main things to remember from the top bit. As you look down, obviously if you're ordering things, the company needs to know what it is that you're ordering. So there's an item number. Sometimes there's two of those, like on here, because the supplier might have an item number and the company doing the ordering might have their own different item number. So they're both on, so it's easy to remember. Often there's just one of those. But all you need to think about is item number. There'll be a description, so what is it that they're ordering? Quantity, how many do they need? What's the price per each one of them? The unit price it's called. But if you just remember price, that's enough. And then where it says extension, that's just the total. So you can remember that as total. You don't need to use the word extension. It's just an example. So you've got item number, description, what it is that they're ordering, quantity, price, total. And then there's a total at the bottom. Now, sometimes they'll have some other things on. This is a different example. The top information is all very similar. But at the bottom, there's also a subtotal, and they've added tax to it. S and H just means shipping and handling, so that's delivery. So other things you could say are on a purchase order are tax and delivery, and then a grand total at the bottom. Here's another example, looks very similar. So we've got similar information at the top. You've got your subtotal. Once you've worked out your quantity, price, your total there, they've added tax, and then they've got a full total. But you'll notice all of them have got that order number. They've called it job number here, but it's the same thing. All have got the date, all have got the addresses, and all have got the items, quantity, unit, price, and total, and so on. Okay, so remember what it's for. Remember what would be on it. Here's a summary, if you want, that you can revise from. Now we'll look at invoice. So you can get some examples of an invoice just doing a simple Google image search. So an invoice is what would be sent out when somebody has actually ordered something. So you've ordered something, it's been delivered, the company now wants payment. So they send out an invoice to the company who ordered it. So it'll have some very similar information to an order. I'll just see if this one might be a bit easier to see. So it's got, again, the two company names, the company who's actually sent the goods out, the company who they're asking for payment. It'll have a date and an invoice number. Sometimes there's a customer ID as well, but don't worry too much about that. They'll have what they've actually bought. So this could have a quantity, a description, a unit cost, and a total, or they might have it more simple, like in this one. And then at the bottom, they'll have a subtotal, any tax that's been added, any delivery charges, and then the total that needs to be paid. They often have some terms and conditions as well to say how long the company has to actually make the payment. So it might just say like this one, payment due within 30 days. So there's one example. You'll find other examples are quite similar. But the bits to remember, two addresses, the date, the invoice number, the quantity and description of what's been ordered, unit cost, total cost, tax, delivery if it's there. Some companies have it, some don't. and grand total, and then terms and conditions. You only really need to remember about 3 or 4 of these things. Right, a receipt is the bit that is sent out once the payment has been made. So you've got the purchase order, which orders things. You've then got the invoice, which asks for payment. And then the receipt is once the payment's been made, a receipt is sent out to say, yes, we've received payment for whatever. So all that would be on a receipt, there's some examples again, if you want to have a little look at them. Remember, you can get to this presentation. It'll just have what's been ordered. It'll have a date. Again, it has the quantity, the price, how much it's got, and then a total at the bottom. You don't really need any more information than that. So just remember that it's the date, what's actually been ordered, the price, and the total to say that that payment has actually been made. Right, I'm not going to ask you to do this task unless you would like to, but what I would like you to make sure is that you understand, like I've said, these things here, the purpose of each document, when it would be sent, what details would be on it, 3 or 4 things for each. And then you might just want to think about what calculations would be made as well. So how do you work out that total? Obviously, it's the quantity times by the unit price. Add all those things together. Then add on any tax, any delivery charges, and you get your grand total. That's all it means by calculations that might take place. And make sure that you understand the difference between all of the documents as well. People sometimes get mixed up between the 3 of them and forget what they're for.